In today's video, we'll reveal some of the most expensive quarter dollars ever discovered, show you exactly what to look for, and explain why these tiny coins have turned ordinary people into owners of extraordinary treasures. Make sure you watch until the end. You might already have one of these rare coins without even realizing it. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out what looks like an ordinary quarter, and unknowingly spending a coin that could be worth as much as $876,000. It sounds impossible, but history has proven that extraordinary coins can hide in plain sight. Every day, millions of Americans spend quarters without giving them a second glance. Collectors, however, know a different truth. They understand that the smallest details, a tiny minting mistake, an unusual strike, or a rare die variety, can transform 25 cents into a life-changing discovery. The difference between a spender and a collector isn't luck. It's knowledge. And today, we're uncovering one of the most fascinating modern coins that has captured the attention of collectors across the country, the 2015 Homestead quarter dollar. Before you dismiss the quarter sitting in your coin jar, your wallet, or even your car's cup holder, stay with me. The next few minutes could completely change the way you look at pocket change forever. The 2015 Homestead quarter was released as part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, honoring Homestead National Historical Park in Nebraska. At first glance, the design appears simple yet meaningful. It features a historic pump drawing water from a well, symbolizing the determination and hard work of America's early homesteaders. Millions of these coins entered circulation, making most examples worth only face value. But hidden among those ordinary coins are a handful of remarkable error varieties that have become legendary within the numismatic community. These elusive pieces are so difficult to locate that many collectors refer to them as modern ghosts, appearing only rarely and disappearing into private collections almost as quickly as they're discovered. Here's something that surprises even experienced collectors. Modern coins are produced with advanced technology and strict quality control, leading many people to believe mint errors no longer happen. The truth is exactly the opposite. When a mistake escapes inspection today, it instantly attracts attention because errors are much less common than they were decades ago. Scarcity creates demand, and demand creates extraordinary value. That's why modern mint errors can become some of the hottest collectibles on the market. Before we go any further, take 10 seconds and think about this. How many quarters do you have lying around your home right now? Maybe they're sitting in a kitchen drawer, inside an old coffee can, or forgotten in a piggy bank. Those coins have probably been ignored for years. What if one of them deserves a second look? The most famous variety associated with the 2015 Homestead quarter is known among collectors as the leaky bucket error. This striking die variety creates the appearance of extra raised lines flowing downward from the bucket, making it seem as though water is leaking through the metal itself. While this effect resulted from die damage rather than an actual hole in the bucket, it became one of the most talked about modern quarter varieties almost immediately after collectors noticed it. The unusual appearance is dramatic enough that even people with little collecting experience can often spot it once they know exactly where to look. Another variety involves significant die cracks that stretch across portions of the reverse design. These cracks form when the hardened steel die used to strike coins begins to fracture after repeated use. Instead of removing the damaged die immediately, a limited number of coins may continue to be struck before replacement. Those surviving examples preserve a unique moment in mint production history. Every crack tells a story of metal fatigue, enormous striking pressure, and a manufacturing process operating at incredible speed. Collectors also search for double die characteristics on certain examples. A double die occurs during die creation rather than during the striking process itself. Letters, numbers, or design elements may appear slightly doubled because the die received multiple impressions that were not perfectly aligned. Genuine double dies are highly collectible because every coin struck from that die carries the same distinctive characteristics. Authentication is essential, however, because machine doubling and ordinary ware can easily fool inexperienced collectors. Then there are off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and dramatic strike-through errors. These mistakes occur when something interrupts the normal minting process. A coin blank may fail to align correctly, a foreign object might interfere with the strike, or the collar that shapes the coin's edge may malfunction. While these dramatic errors are uncommon, examples on the 2015 Homestead Quarter are especially desirable because they combine a popular modern design with visually impressive mint mistakes. Now here's a question. If you found a quarter with unusual lines, strange doubling, or an off-center strike, would you recognize it? Or would you spend it on a cup of coffee without thinking twice? That's exactly what happens more often than most people realize. Valuable coins frequently circulate unnoticed because their owners simply don't know what makes them special. The Philadelphia and Denver mints both produced Homestead quarters in enormous numbers. However, not every mint error is equally rare. Some varieties are limited to specific production runs, while others may exist in only a tiny number of confirmed examples. As collectors continue studying these coins, new discoveries occasionally emerge, adding even more excitement to the hunt. That's one reason this series remains so popular. The story isn't finished yet. Condition also plays an enormous role in determining value. Two identical error coins can have dramatically different prices simply because one remained in pristine condition while the other circulated for years. Coins displaying full original mint luster, crisp details, and minimal contact marks command the strongest premiums. Professional grading services evaluate these qualities carefully, assigning numerical grades that heavily influence market value. Let's pause for another reality check. If you own a roll of quarters from 2015, don't wait until next year to examine them. Every year, more modern coins enter circulation, more collectors search for these varieties, and more undiscovered examples become damaged through everyday use. Time is not always your friend in coin collecting. Now let's address the number everyone wants to hear. Can a 2015 Homestead quarter really be worth $876,000? The answer requires important context. An ordinary circulated Homestead quarter is still worth 25 cents. Even most uncirculated examples carry only modest premiums. However, the rarest known combinations of exceptional mint errors, elite preservation, certified authenticity, and extraordinary collector demand can produce astonishing prices. Headlines mentioning values approaching hundreds of thousands of dollars generally refer to one-of-a-kind or nearly unique pieces that represent the absolute pinnacle of rarity. These are not everyday coins. They are the dream discoveries that inspire collectors across America. Auction houses thrive on competition. When two determined collectors pursue the same extraordinary coin, bidding can escalate rapidly beyond published estimates. The emotional excitement of owning something almost no one else possesses often pushes prices higher than expected. That's the magic of numismatics. Value isn't determined solely by metal content. It's created through rarity, history, condition, demand, and the stories each coin carries through time. Professional authentication is absolutely critical. Counterfeit coins and altered pieces have become increasingly sophisticated. Some individuals intentionally modify ordinary quarters to imitate valuable errors. That's why respected third-party grading companies examine every detail under magnification before certifying authenticity. A certified coin inspires buyer confidence and typically commands much stronger prices than an uncertified example. Here's another thought that might surprise you. Many of the greatest coin discoveries weren't made by wealthy investors or professional dealers. They were found by ordinary people searching inherited collections, bankrolls, garage sale purchases, and everyday pocket change. That's part of what makes this hobby so addictive. Every handful of coins carries the possibility, however small, of revealing something extraordinary. Picture yourself opening an old coin jar that's been collecting dust for years. You separate the quarters one by one until a familiar homestead design catches your attention. Then you notice unusual raised lines beneath the bucket. Suddenly, what looked like spare change becomes a research project. You compare photographs, inspect the details under magnification, and realize you might have discovered something special. Whether it's ultimately worth hundreds, thousands, or simply becomes the highlight of your personal collection, that moment of discovery is something every collector dreams about. The market for modern mint errors continues evolving as new collectors enter the hobby. Online auctions, educational videos, and collector communities have introduced millions of people to varieties they previously ignored. Increased awareness often creates stronger competition for genuinely scarce pieces, especially certified examples with impressive eye appeal. That's why experienced collectors continue watching modern issues just as closely as classic rarities. Remember this important principle. Never clean a coin. Cleaning can permanently damage the original surface, leaving microscopic scratches that dramatically reduce collector value. Even if a coin appears dull or dirty, preserving its natural condition almost always produces better long-term results. Patience and proper handling are far more valuable than polishing. As we reach the end of today's journey, one message stands above everything else. Extraordinary discoveries belong to those who pay attention. The 2015 Homestead Quarter reminds us that hidden treasures don't always come wrapped in gold or locked inside museum vaults. Sometimes they travel quietly through everyday commerce, waiting for the right person to notice a tiny detail everyone else overlooked. The next time someone hands you change at the grocery store, don't rush to spend it. Take a closer look. That simple habit could become the beginning of an unforgettable collecting story. And before you leave, here's something you won't want to miss. There's another modern American coin with an even more mysterious error that has stunned collectors and sparked incredible bidding wars. Some experts believe examples are still hiding in circulation today. In our next video, we'll reveal that ultra-rare coin, explain exactly what makes it so valuable, and show you the tiny details that could separate an ordinary coin from an astonishing payday. Until then, keep searching, keep learning, and always remember that the next life-changing treasure might already be sitting in your pocket. Imagine reaching into your pocket for a quarter to buy a cup of coffee, only to discover that the coin you've been carrying for years could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. It sounds unbelievable, but stories like this have fueled the passion of coin collectors across America for generations. Every day, millions of people spend quarters without giving them a second glance. Collectors, however, know a different truth. The smallest detail can transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary treasure. Today, we're uncovering one of the most fascinating modern coins in circulation, the 2017 George Rogers Clark quarter dollar. While most examples are worth only face value, a handful featuring extraordinary minting errors have captured the attention of elite collectors, with exceptional pieces reportedly reaching astonishing values approaching $856,000 under extremely rare market conditions. Before you spend another quarter, stay with me because the coin hiding in your change could tell a very different story. There are two kinds of people in the world when it comes to coins. The first group spends every quarter without looking. The second group pauses for just a few seconds, checks the date, the mint mark, and the details. That tiny habit has changed lives. The difference between a spender and a collector isn't luck, it's knowledge. Somewhere in America, someone may already have this remarkable quarter sitting unnoticed inside a coin jar, a dresser drawer, or an old piggy bank. The question is simple. Could that someone be you? The 2017 George Rogers Clark Quarter was released as part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program. It honors George Rogers Clark National Historical Park in Indiana, recognizing the Revolutionary War hero whose leadership helped secure the Northwest Territory for the United States. The reverse design shows George Rogers Clark standing before his men at Fort Sackville, preparing for one of the most daring military campaigns in American history. It's a powerful image that symbolizes courage, determination, and strategic brilliance. Yet, ironically, the greatest excitement surrounding this quarter today has little to do with history alone. It comes from the rare mistakes created during the minting process. Modern quarters are produced with incredible precision. Millions leave the mint looking nearly identical. But every once in a while, something unexpected happens. A die shifts slightly. A planchet enters the press incorrectly. A damaged die continues striking coins longer than it should. These tiny manufacturing accidents create collectible errors that experienced numismatists actively search for. Because so few escape quality control, genuine error coins are remarkably scarce. Now here's something many people don't realize. Simply owning a 2017 George Rogers Clark quarter does not automatically make you wealthy. The overwhelming majority remain common circulation coins. The true value lies in exceptionally rare minting errors, outstanding preservation, certified authenticity, and intense collector demand. Those extraordinary combinations are what create headlines in the numismatic world. Attention reset. If you have a jar of quarters somewhere in your home, pause this video after we're finished and check every single 2017 quarter carefully. Thousands of people never bother looking. Collectors know better. Let's begin with one of the most desirable possibilities, the dramatic off-center strike. During production, if the blank planchet isn't perfectly aligned before being struck, part of the design may be missing while the remaining image appears shifted dramatically toward one edge. Minor off-center strikes bring only modest premiums, but dramatic examples that still display the complete date and mint mark become significantly more desirable. Those are the kinds of pieces advanced collectors compete to own. Another fascinating variety involves the doubled die. This occurs during the die manufacturing process, causing portions of the design to display noticeable doubling. Under magnification, collectors may observe doubled lettering, dates, or design elements that cannot be explained by ordinary wear or machine vibration. Genuine double dies are far less common than many people assume, making authenticated examples especially appealing. Next comes the elusive die crack and retained cut errors. Over time, striking dies endure tremendous pressure. Eventually, tiny fractures can develop. As these cracks grow, raised lines or unusual metal formations begin appearing on the finished coins. Larger retained cuts, where portions of the die begin breaking apart while still striking coins, become especially dramatic. Collectors appreciate these because every stage of die deterioration tells part of the coin's manufacturing story. Then there are clipped planchet errors. Before striking, blank coins are punched from long sheets of metal. Occasionally, the punching process overlaps another blank, producing a curved section missing from the finished coin. Because these mistakes happen before striking, the completed quarter carries a distinctive curved clip that specialists immediately recognize. Authentic examples remain highly collectible, particularly when preserved in exceptional condition. Another possibility involves broad strike errors. Normally, the collar surrounding the coin keeps its shape perfectly round during striking. If that collar fails, the coin can expand beyond its intended diameter while losing its normal reeded edge. These unusual pieces instantly stand apart from ordinary quarters and are highly sought after by error coin enthusiasts. Here's another attention reset. Think about this for a moment. How many quarters have passed through your hands during the past year? Hundreds? Maybe thousands? And how many did you actually inspect before spending them? Sometimes hidden wealth isn't buried underground. Sometimes it's sitting in your pocket. Among specialists, perhaps the most exciting discoveries involve multiple errors appearing on a single coin. Imagine finding a quarter displaying an off-center strike combined with a clipped planchet or a dramatic die break alongside exceptional mint luster. Multi-error coins are extraordinarily uncommon, and rarity often increases exponentially when unusual characteristics occur together. These remarkable combinations attract serious bidding whenever they appear at major auctions. Condition plays an equally important role. Even the rarest mint error loses significant appeal if heavily worn. Professional grading services evaluate every detail, assigning numerical grades that dramatically influence value. Coins graded mint state 67, 68, or higher often command substantial premiums compared to lower grade examples. Sharp strike quality, brilliant original surfaces, and minimal contact marks separate elite specimens from ordinary survivors. Certification also matters tremendously. Experienced collectors rarely rely solely on photographs or personal opinions when evaluating high-value coins. Independent authentication by respected grading companies provides confidence that an error is genuine and the condition accurately assessed. Without professional certification, extraordinary value claims become much harder to support. Let's talk about the number everyone wants to hear. Could a 2017 George Rogers Clark quarter really be worth as much as $856,000? Under extremely exceptional circumstances, involving a unique combination of major mint errors, elite condition, documented provenance, and intense competitive bidding among advanced collectors, values approaching that level have been discussed within the broader rare coin marketplace. However, such outcomes represent extraordinary exceptions rather than the rule. Most circulated examples remain worth only 25 cents, while many genuine error coins sell anywhere from modest premiums to several $1,000s depending on their rarity, authenticity, and grade. This reality actually makes the hunt even more exciting. The next incredible discovery doesn't have to come from an expensive collection. It could emerge from everyday circulation, an inherited coin album, or an overlooked family jar that hasn't been opened in years. History has repeatedly shown that remarkable numismatic discoveries often happen when ordinary people simply decide to look more carefully. Attention reset. Go grab the oldest coin jar in your house after this video. You might spend 30 minutes searching, but if you discover an authenticated major error, those 30 minutes could become the most profitable half hour you've ever invested. The current coin market continues attracting new collectors every year. Economic uncertainty, growing interest in tangible assets, and the excitement of discovering hidden treasures have encouraged more Americans to examine their pocket change than ever before. Online auctions, collector forums, and professional grading services have made it easier to identify and evaluate unusual finds. As awareness grows, competition for exceptional modern era coins continues increasing. That doesn't mean every unusual-looking quarter is valuable. Damage caused after leaving the mint, scratches, dents, corrosion, grinding, or heat exposure, is generally not considered a genuine mint error. Learning to distinguish authentic production mistakes from post-mint damage is one of the most valuable skills any collector can develop. Patience, research, and careful observation consistently outperform guesswork. Imagine the excitement of holding a quarter that escaped multiple inspection stages at the mint. Imagine realizing that a tiny production mistake, invisible to most people, transformed an ordinary 25-cent coin into an object desired by collectors nationwide. That's what makes numismatics so fascinating. Every coin carries a story. Occasionally, one carries a fortune. The search itself becomes part of the reward. Every roll opened, every coin examined, every date inspected brings the possibility of discovering something unexpected. Even if your first search doesn't reveal a six-figure rarity, you'll develop the trained eye that separates knowledgeable collectors from casual spenders. The greatest treasures are often found by those who refuse to stop looking. As the market for modern era coins continues evolving, the importance of education becomes even greater. Understanding mint marks, strike quality, grading standards, and authentic era characteristics allows collectors to recognize opportunities that others overlook. Knowledge creates confidence, and confidence creates discoveries. So before you spend another quarter, take one final look. Check the date. Examine the mint mark. Study the edges. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, or other unusual features. That simple habit could completely change the way you see the coins passing through your hands every day. And remember, today's featured quarter may not be the only hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. In our next episode, we'll uncover another ultra-rare American coin with an incredible backstory, astonishing mint errors, and the kind of what if I told you that a single quarter sitting in a forgotten coin jar, tucked inside your car's cup holder, or mixed in with everyday pocket change could be worth far more than most people earn in a lifetime? It sounds unbelievable, but stories like this have fueled the dreams of collectors for generations. Every day, millions of Americans spend coins without giving them a second thought. They buy a cup of coffee, pay a parking meter, or toss spare change into a drawer. But collectors know something the average spender doesn't. Sometimes, the smallest details separate an ordinary 25-cent coin from a life-changing discovery. And today, we're taking a close look at one of the most fascinating modern quarters ever released, the 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter. Before you assume every example is worth a fortune, stay with me, because only an extremely small number of extraordinary specimens with rare minting characteristics have attracted serious attention from advanced collectors. Missing one of these could mean spending a hidden treasure without ever realizing it. The 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter was issued as part of the America the Beautiful Quarters program. The reverse honors the legendary abolitionist, author, statesman, and civil rights leader Frederick Douglass, featuring him seated at a writing desk inside the Cedar Hill home in Washington, D.C. At first glance, it looks like an ordinary circulating quarter. Millions were struck across the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Most examples remain worth only their face value or a small premium in uncirculated condition. But coin collecting has never been about ordinary examples. It has always been about finding the extraordinary hidden among the common. Here's where the story becomes fascinating. During high-speed coin production, minting equipment operates under tremendous pressure. Even a slight mechanical problem can produce dramatic varieties or mint errors. While most defective coins are caught during quality control, a tiny number escape into circulation. Those escaped pieces become the legends that collectors spend years searching for. They appear without warning, disappear into collections, and sometimes remain hidden for decades before resurfacing. Now stop for just a moment. If you have a jar of quarters sitting somewhere in your house, this might be the perfect time to think about it. How many people have ignored those coins for years? How many have never looked beyond the date? That's exactly why remarkable discoveries continue to happen. One of the most desirable characteristics collectors examine is a dramatic double die. This occurs during die production, when design elements receive multiple misaligned impressions before the die is hardened. The result can create noticeable doubling on inscriptions, lettering, numbers, or portions of the design. On exceptional examples, the doubling is strong enough to be seen without advanced magnification. A confirmed double die on a modern quarter immediately attracts intense interest because genuine examples are extremely scarce. Another highly sought-after error is an off-center strike. Instead of being perfectly aligned during the striking process, the coin blank shifts slightly, causing part of the design to be missing while leaving the date visible. Off-center errors with complete dates are especially desirable because collectors can identify the coin while appreciating the dramatic mistake. The larger the off-center strike without losing the date, the stronger the collector demand generally becomes. Then there are broad strikes, where the retaining collar fails to contain the expanding metal during striking. These coins appear larger than normal with distorted rims, creating an unmistakable appearance. Although broad strikes exist across many denominations, premium examples on popular quarter designs often generate strong bidding when authenticated. Perhaps even more exciting are dramatic die cracks and retained cuts. As dies age, microscopic fractures develop from repeated striking pressure. Eventually, portions of the die begin breaking apart, creating raised metal lines or large blobs on the finished coin. While small die cracks are relatively common, massive retained cuts covering significant portions of the design can transform an otherwise ordinary quarter into a highly collectible error. Another variety that attracts experienced collectors is the clipped planchet. Before striking, blank coins are punched from long metal strips. Occasionally, overlapping punches remove part of the blank, producing a curved missing section along the edge. When struck, these unusual planchets create distinctive coins that immediately stand out from ordinary circulation pieces. Now here's a question that every collector should ask. What if the quarter you're carrying right now isn't rare because of its date, but because of something almost nobody notices? That's exactly how hidden treasures survive in circulation. Most people simply aren't looking. Professional grading also plays an enormous role in determining value. A flawless coin with blazing original luster, razor-sharp details, and virtually no contact marks can achieve extraordinary grades, such as mint state 68 or even higher. Population reports consistently demonstrate that ultra-high-grade modern quarters are dramatically scarcer than many collectors realize. Every tiny scratch, nick, or fingerprint can reduce a coin's grade and significantly affect its market value. Now let's discuss one of the biggest misconceptions in modern coin collecting. Many internet headlines suggest every 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. That simply isn't accurate. The overwhelming majority remain common circulation coins. However, the rare combination of an extraordinary mint error, exceptional preservation, verified authenticity, and intense collector demand can produce astonishing auction results. It isn't the date alone that creates value. It's the combination of rarity, condition, and uniqueness. Imagine discovering a spectacular mint error that survived unnoticed for years. Imagine submitting it to a respected grading service, receiving confirmation that it represents an exceptionally rare variety, and suddenly finding collectors competing to own it. That's the dream that keeps numismatists searching through rolls, bank boxes, estate collections, and inherited jars of pocket change every single day. Let's pause again for a reality check. When was the last time you actually examined your quarters under a magnifying glass? Not glanced at them, actually studied them. Most people never do. That simple habit is exactly what separates casual spenders from successful collectors. The market for major mint errors has grown steadily over the past several years. Modern error coins once overlooked by traditional collectors are now attracting a younger generation of buyers who appreciate both rarity and fascinating production mistakes. Online auctions have expanded global visibility, allowing collectors from across the United States and around the world to compete for exceptional examples. Increased competition naturally places upward pressure on the prices realized by the finest certified pieces. Among the most exciting stories are those involving ordinary people making extraordinary discoveries. A coin hidden in a family collection, a quarter found in a bankroll, pocket change received at a grocery store. These stories remind us that valuable coins don't always begin inside museum collections. Sometimes they begin in the most ordinary places imaginable. Now imagine this scenario. You're cleaning out an old drawer filled with loose change. You almost dump everything into a coin counting machine. But something catches your eye. The strike looks unusual. The lettering appears doubled. One edge seems slightly different. Instead of spending it, you decide to investigate. That single decision could completely change the story of that coin forever. Some discussions have mentioned extraordinary valuations approaching $765,000 for an exceptional 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter. It's important to understand what such figures actually represent. Prices at that level would require an extraordinarily unique coin, something with an exceptional combination of dramatic mint error, elite certified condition, rarity, documented provenance, and intense competitive bidding. Such values are not representative of normal examples found in circulation, but they demonstrate how extraordinary rarity can transform an everyday coin into an object of tremendous collector interest. That possibility is exactly what makes coin collecting so addictive. You're never simply looking at money. You're looking for history, manufacturing anomalies, survival against impossible odds, and the excitement of discovering something that everyone else overlooked. Every coin tells a story, but only a handful become legends. Here's something to think about before you spend your next quarter. Are you absolutely certain you've checked both sides? Have you examined the mint mark? Have you inspected the lettering for doubling? Have you looked carefully along the rim for striking abnormalities? Those few extra seconds might save you from unknowingly spending a remarkable collectible. Collectors often say luck favors prepared eyes. The more you understand minting technology, error diagnostics, grading standards, and historical context, the better your chances of recognizing something unusual before everyone else does. Knowledge has always been the most valuable tool in numismatics. As interest in modern error coins continues growing, remarkable discoveries become even more exciting. Every authenticated rarity reminds collectors that hidden treasures haven't disappeared. They're simply waiting for someone observant enough to recognize them. That's why millions of coins continue passing from hand to hand while only a tiny fraction receive the careful examination they deserved. So the next time someone tells you that pocket change has no value beyond 25 cents, remember the remarkable journey of the 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter. Most are ordinary. A select few become unforgettable because of extraordinary minting mistakes, exceptional preservation, and overwhelming collector demand. Those rare survivors remind us that history sometimes hides in the smallest places. Before you leave today, take a few minutes to search through your own collection, your coin jar, your wallet, or even the loose change in your vehicle. You never know which coin has been waiting years for someone to finally notice its hidden story. And if you enjoy uncovering rare coins that could surprise even experienced collectors, make sure you stay tuned, because in our next episode we'll reveal another astonishing American coin with a history so unusual that many collectors have searched for decades without ever finding one. You won't want to miss what's coming next.